Yes, this is the second video of the series of Edexcel English Literature, and we've been discussing the poem Apes, written by Rudyard Kipling. In our first lesson, first video, we tried to get the overall meaning of the poem. And in this video, I'm going to help you to understand the poetic devices Kipling uses to get his message across to you and to the reader. So they are that the first is in our technique that we discussed today is anaphora. What's meant by anaphora? Anaphora means a repetition of a word or an expression of the beginning of successive phrases. Can be clauses as well. Look at this one. Look at the way how the poet uses if you can. Look at this one here. If you can keep your head, if you can trust yourself, if you can wait. So this repetition, right, occurring at the very beginning is generally known as anaphora. It's a very powerful technique. So what is the effect this particular poetic devices? Okay, this poetic device brings on you, on the reader. Right. It creates a kind of hypnotic incantatory quality. Was hypnotic in the sense you see now it now because of this repetition and the poet you see now tries to get your attention right to what he's talking about. And it's something like incantatory. Incantation means the use of a spell or charm right on you so that he can get your attention to the content of this particular poem. And this particular quality okay gives a momentum to the poem. Momentum in the sense you see now it builds up a kind of a force, and this force you see now emphasizes the conditional nature of the advice. You know that advice given by the poet is conditional because if you do this one that will happen to you. So, and on the other hand, the repetition make the poem feel like a series of tests or challenges that you got to go through, and it builds up suspense toward the final reward. What is the final reward? Then you will be a man if you fulfill these conditions. So now you can understand the importance or the power of this particular poetic technique, anaphora. Yeah, the second technique or the device that we are paying our attention to is metaphor. Kipling uses a very powerful metaphor in this particular poem. What is that? The triumph and disaster are compared to two imposters, right? And first, let's try to understand what a metaphor is. Metaphor is a direct comparison. If someone says, you know, she's like a rose, there is a simile. But if the fellow says he is a rose, that's a direct comparison. That's a metaphor. So here in this particular poem, you see now both the triumph and the disaster are directly compared to two imposters. What are imposters? Maybe you see now the people, or maybe you know certain situations that deceive you, cheat you, put you into illusion. So in this poem, as I discussed with you in the first video, Kipling tries to tell us, you see now, we should not take a triumph and disaster very seriously. In the sense, you see now, we should not be excited. Okay, because of the triumph we have, or even right when you have a disaster. And that's why he says, you now, make one heap of all your winnings. Right. So it's about now we can take a risk, but if right in failure, we should not be upset or dejected. Here, treating life's achievements as gambling chips. You see now, here the two imposters. You see now, triumph and disaster. According to Kipling, you see now are two imposters, things that can cheat you, deceive you. So you have to be circumspect, careful. That is why you see now this particular metaphor and the device you see now makes a very big effect you see now on you. That's why he says you see now these two imposters, right, or metaphor suggest that external circumstances are deceptive, can cheat you, or temporary. So we should not get controlled by these external circumstances. Yes, another powerful device is personification. You know what personification is. Here is described as abstract qualities are given human characteristics. So personification means that we take the things which have no life as the things which have life, right? That you say now we give human qualities to the things which have no life. So, poet uses personification in this particular poem very powerfully, and examples are given here. You can read them here. The will, which says to them, hold on. You see, the will is given life. The will says, and you got to hold on. So, the willpower is given a voice here in this particular poem. That's personification. And the other example is unforgiving minute. So it's the people who can forgive. So unforgiving. Okay, that forgiving is not given. Unforgiving minute. So that you say every minute matters a lot. So time is described as harsh and unforgiving. And now, what are the effects you see now? These situations to create in the poem. So psychologically, you see now you are in a particular state of mind. So when you go through this particular poem and when you come through these places where personification is used, you see now they make your internal psychological state feel like active forces, right? And these situations encourage you, right? Energize you and characters in the reader's life, that's in your life. Okay, it gives a force to you, a power to you. Okay, it invigorates you. And also this creates drama and urgency, suggesting that willpower is companion that speaks to us in moments of crisis. You have your own willpower, okay, that can talk to us in the situation where we need it. So a wonderful creation. Yes, the other important device is alliteration. What's alliteration? The repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of words. So, my point to understand is not the repetition of consonants or repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of words or the nearby words. Another example given there: twisted by nails to make a trap. Here, twisted and trap. The t sound is repeated. Crowds and keep, the k sound is repeated. Now, now the sounds matter a lot. Use now we got some harsh, rough, tough sounds and very soft sort of musical sounds as well. But here, look at this one. Now they were twisted by nails to make a trap, you see. And while sort of now these sounds create a quality, a musical quality, and emphasize the praises, but the praises twisted by nails to make a trap. And this repetition, you see, now while creating musical sounds, right, help the reader to pay his or her attention to these praises. And also, you think of this particular sound, twisted and trap you see now, the harsh consonants, right? Twisted and trap you see now, that also mirror the harshness of the betrayal. And at the same time, you see now elsewhere of the poem that you can find some softer sounds, okay, that provide rhythmic varieties to this particular poem. Yes, the next technique is juxtaposition. What is it? Opposing ideas are placed side by side to highlight differences. Now look at the example given there, triumph and disaster, two opposing words. That's success versus failure. And the next one, next example, talk with crowds versus walk with kings, two opposing situations. Common people and royalty, foes and loving friends. So this is called juxtaposition. So what the effect you see now this particular device brings to the poem? So that emphasize the need for balance and complexity of life. And at the same time, you see now It shows that wisdom lies not in choosing sides, but in maintaining equilibrium between extremes. You should not go to extreme, either of the extreme. Okay, you must strike a balance in your life. So this creates a tension that keeps the reader engaged in the poem. Yes, the next poetic device is allusion. What's allusion? Allusion, here the definition is not given for this particular technique. Allusion means a reference either to a person, place, or thing or event, right? Either in history or in literature. But in this particular context, now to a game you see, reference to a gambling and games you see, pitch and toss. So when we go through this phrase, pitch and toss, our attention is taken by what you call this gambling here, a gambling game where coins are thrown. Yeah, one turn of pitch and toss. Here, in this particular context, life as a game of chance. You see now, the poet is paying our attention to think of life as a game of chance. And this device make the poem relatable to everyday experiences while emphasizing life's unpredictability. Life is not predictable. That's what the poet tries to say. And the gambling metaphor also suggests that taking risks is inevitable. You got to take your risk. But how we handle the outcomes defines our character. So it may be your success or maybe your failure. But how you are going to look at it and take it to your life, that matters a lot. And imagery, I'm going to talk a lot about imagery because now you know this particular technique and you can very easily understand it. So imagery is a vivid descriptive language that appeals to the senses, right? And there are five types of imagery that you are studied, you see now. But here you see now, when we go to stoop and build them up with the worn out tools, what that? It's about the physical image of a rebuilding. Then next one, force your heart and nerve and sinew. It's about the bodily imagery of physical effort. And again, you see now, now we got some other imagery also in the poem. You see now, the imagery creates a kind of concrete, visceral experiences that make abstract virtues feel physical and real. So your virtues, your qualities, right? They are abstract. We can't touch them, right? But what the poet tries to do is just to give sort of a concrete image to those abstract terms used in imagery. And the imagery is now help the reader to visualize the effort required for moral courage and persistence for you to succeed, whatever you do in your life. Yes, what symbolism? The objects or actions that represents larger concepts you see now here. Now when you listen to or when you read worn out tools, you see the worn out tools, you see now this phrase represents the persistence that you really need despite having inadequate resources. Even though that you don't have enough resources, okay, you got to build your life with the worn out tools. And then 60 seconds worth of distance run. So maximizing every moment of life. Okay, it's a symbol of the importance of time. And you see now the effect is you see now the symbolism adds layers of meaning beyond the literal. So, okay, and it makes you think of your life from different perspectives, different viewpoints. And also symbolism creates a memorable images that capture the complex philosophical ideas and making them easier to remember and internalize to get into your mind. Yes, then it's about paradox. As a paradox, the seemingly contradictory statements. What is contradictory? So the meaning of one statement is quite opposed to that of the other. Okay, two statements of which meaning are entirely different. Okay, but that reveals some deeper truth. Here, what are the examples given there? Don't look too good and not talk too wise. two opposing places, right? But being virtuous without appearing superior. So that is the idea given there. And in the next example, all men count with you, but none too much. Okay, value everyone while maintaining independence. Here, all men count with you, but none too much. So you are advised not to depend on the others. Okay, and this technique forces you to think deeply about the complex aspect of your life. Okay, the moral situations, and also it reveals that true wisdom often involves navigating contradictions in your life rather than choosing very simple answers. And this helps you understand the complexity of your life. You know what a hyperbole is. And Kipling uses hyperbole in this particular poem. What's hyperbole? That's a deliberate exaggeration for emphasis. You really want to emphasize something and then you use exaggeration. Look at the example. You see the earth and everything that's in it. That's an exaggeration. Okay, and that you see now the reward for achieving these ideals. Okay, and when you are told you see the earth and everything that's in it, you see now you are encouraged, you are inspired, you are motivated by the poet to achieve right the things right mentioned there. And this particular device creates a sense of epic scope and ultimate achievement that you can have in your life. And the exaggeration make the stakes feel enormous. It's okay. It's not that easy for you to go right on your journey to achieve your goals, but it motivates you to strive to work hard for these ideas for your goals by promising cosmic rewards. What is cosmic? Universal rewards. A reward that you can get using from this earth universe for your life. Perhaps you might not have heard this word before. Chiasmus. What's chiasmus? It's the reversal of grammatical structures for emphasis. You invert, you change the grammatical structures. Right here, if you can dream, and then you are told, and not make dreams your master. You see the inversion, the changing. If you can think and not make thoughts your aim, this parallel but inverted structure. So this brings a big effect, right, on your life, on your thoughts. But it creates a balance, and it also emphasizes the dual nature of the advice given to you. And also you see now the mirrored structure that forces you, that reinforces the theme of balance and moderation. Now throughout the poem, if you can very carefully read the poem once again, and you are advised to have a balance in whatever that you do. So this particular situation and this particular you see now a technique is also used for that particular purpose in the poem. And finally, we can pay our attention to enjambment, another interesting poetic device Kipling uses. What is that? Lines flow into each other without pause or stop, creating a continuous thought. You can just go to the first example given there. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blame it on you. Read it again. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs. So, just reading the first line, you can get a complete meaning there. Why? The meaning of the first line becomes complete only when you go into the second one. This is called enjambment. So, this is quite natural that in our speech, that what Kipling tries to do, you see, it creates a natural speech rhythm and maintain the flow of the complex ideas across the line breaks. Okay, now even though the line breaks, you see now that the complexity of life is taken into this particular poem by using this particular technique enjambment, And it also mirrors the continuous nature of life challenges that got to face that in your life, and the ongoing effort that you could make a lot of efforts, right? And so we come to the end of talking about the poetic devices of the poem, and in our next video we can look at the basic themes of the poem.